Let me ask you about AI. You got in a little bit of an argument about open source. I think you stepped in between Vinod Khosla and Mark Andreessen. You think AI should be open sourced?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
like all that discussion we've been having about like Google and so on, one of the
Well, okay, two
solutions.
different things. Meaning that Meta's doing open source.
Yes.
Right. That's a good choice for them. I think that's a smart choice. Right. But it's just a business decision for everybody else. I don't think it should be forced.
Forced, yes, yeah. Even Google's open sourcing some of the models, and
Because that's a very incestuous industry where all, the people all work together at some level. They read the same papers. They go to the same conferences. It's like the early days of streaming and the internet where people use the same technology everywhere. And now they just try different things and you get one smart or a couple smart people in one company like Anthropic, right? And they do things a little bit better and model efficiency gets better. So, it's just a business choice, but I don't think it should be forced, but I think it's a smart business decision.
open sourcing is a smart business decision.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. I mean, Google's a pioneer in that with TensorFlow in the AI space. That's a tricky decision.
It really is, right? But
to give away the
go
code.
back to historically, there was digital computing, which was a dominant player, and they thought, and IBM to a certain extent, thought that they wouldn't be subject to a problem with the PC industry. And then all of a sudden, with their mainframes and everything, they had captive software. They wouldn't use off-the-shelf software, right? So for a digital equipment mainframe or an IBM mainframe, you needed software that was written for it. There was nothing off the shelf. And when the PC industry came along, it was the exact opposite. There was, MS-DOS and then Windows, things that were off the shelf that every PC could use. And that changed how people thought about software. And I think the same thing will happen here where it's going to be, as models become more efficient and easier and less expensive to train, I think there'll be more reasons to open source.
Yeah, that's the hope. It creates more competition and a lot of different diversity of approaches in how they're implemented, deployed, what kind of products they create, all of that. Vinod compared the danger of that to the Manhattan Project.
I'm not buying that at all.
You don't see the parallels between nuclear weapons and AI.
No, I think I'm not an AI fatalist at all, right? I'm an AI optimist, but it's not to say that there isn't a lot of scary shit that can happen with it.
Yeah,
militarily, like I said earlier, I'm a big believer that there's going to be millions and tens of millions of models, and people will take their expertise and either get hired for it and contribute, or create their own models and license. So that, you see now with this thing called mixture of experts, right? Where you connect things and people can take their expertise and will be able to take that expertise and retain it in a way that they want to retain it. So, I don't think there's going to be one medical database. I told this to people at a couple of big companies that were doing healthcare initiatives. Branding is so important in the healthcare space. If for hospitals, the Mayo Clinics, the MD Andersons, they're huge brands, and I don't think they're just going to give up their expertise to some, main singular model, and say, okay, whatever expertise we have is available to you in Gemini or ChatGPT or so and so's version of Meta's open source. I just don't. That would be business suicide. And so I think you're going to see each of them have their own models and update them as they go and license them.
Yeah. And make money from the expertise.
You have
don't
to.
give away
Right?
the expertise. Yeah. And the expertise evolves and grows and all that kind of stuff. And you want to own that growth.